Hello, everybody. So, yeah, so this will be my first um video. Uh, so yeah, so I don't really know where to start. Um, but maybe maybe actually I'm very scared of sharing about m- my channels, and so really it's a big step for me to be recording this and to be uploading this and for people to hear from the unseen. But I'm taking the courage because I never know who needs to hear what this person that I'm channeling with, the message that he wants to tell people. I don't know who it is really for, but um yeah. But but basically I know this is so confusing and I don't really know where to start. So maybe I can tell you a little bit of how I got into channeling for the unseen. Um so I grew up very introverted, and I grew up with a lot of experienced a lot of depression. But the, this depression, it's like it comes so unexpectedly with no source. Um, my life is very privileged. I can say that I'm quite privileged because my family provides me with the basic things. I don't have to ask. They already give it to me. And in my home, I'm not abused, not physically, not emotionally, nothing. But then I got the depression. So this is when through I've learned that my source of depression is because I perceive a lot of um, entities and beings, and before I didn't know how to communicate to them. I didn't understand. My walls were all up, so it was very hard for me because the more I didn't listen, the more they keep budging. So so that's that's how slightly how I got into this. And recently I had classes. I did classes, joined classes, and learned from facilitators on better ways to communicate. Um and recently, like 2 months ago, a Chinese actor that I saw in one of the dramas I watched before uh, died. And his death was such a huge thing to me that my mom was so worried because I was experiencing grief without even having to know the person. And I didn't understand the connection. I didn't understand why I was feeling that way. I was so, 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 so sad. And beyond sad, I was grieving like a family member. I lost something so important. And that's when I started asking questions. And for the first two, maybe 2 weeks, I would just cry. Any time of the day, I would cry, and um, I couldn't sleep. I would just grieve. I would ask questions of why is this happening, and why, what happened, and all those. And then by the second week, I learned that. So the first few days, I know I know tools to communicate. So I did all the clearings I could, and but then a lot of people were grieving him as well. So all those pain, I could feel it, and that's where all the grieving came from as well, from all the people who were grieving him, and I was feeling them so intensely. And it's just after the second week that I started really listening, and but I, I already did. Uh, After the first week, I already did all the clearings, and um, this Chinese actor, you may know him already or don't know him. He's MengLong, and he didn't want to be cleared. So what do you mean by cleared? It's uh, what we call going back to the light, and he didn't want to. But then he didn't. I didn't perceive him as an angry spirit. I didn't feel heavy at all. He just was there. I asked him, "What can I do? I'm so far away. I don't have a voice there. I'm not from your country, and I can't speak your language. So, what do I do?" So, the following, maybe the third week, I learned to take all the emotions, the heavy feelings, and give it back. Give it all back to the sources, to the people, to I just I just I just ask for all the entities that would like to assist to go to the cracks on the system and break the illusion and the lies, and so that they couldn't stop the truth from coming out. And that's what I did daily for the past this 2 months now since his passed. And I've evolved. Um, my techniques have evolved in terms of doing that. And every time, so I think on the third week, I started asking him what happened. And he always just tells me not to focus into it, and that he cannot really tell me because I didn't have any reference point, meaning what they did to him was something I haven't seen or haven't heard of, and that's why whatever comes after that, when I ask the things about the plastination and what they did, the organ harvesting and the fall and they seem really, they might really be how it happened, because those things I wouldn't really think of, like you could do it to someone alive. So yeah. And his main message really is his main message really is that he was never trapped in whatever ritual or blood or dark art they did to keep his soul, because he was never a resentful spirit. He was never resentful. Even when he was alive, he didn't ask why it happened to him, or he was just very, I should say, when I think of it, it's like really was like godlike. It's like an ascension. It's like, in Chinese dramas, they say, before a god levels up or becomes a high god, they go to the mortal world and experience certain struggles and overcome them, and then they go back and become high gods. And that's that's how I describe his um experience and what happened to him. Because whenever I do channel, or whenever I communicate with him, he was never a heavy being or heavy spirit. He was never like lingering. And sometimes when I remember him, he's automatically there, and he laughs. And I tell him, "Did you like this one? Or did you experience this when you were alive?" Basically, it's having a best friend always with you, and that's my experience of him. And really, his main message is not to be trapped in the obsession of, who's, how do I say this? It's not really, he always tells me not to feed the anger and to focus on the real issues and what they're trying to hide. It wasn't really to him how they treated his body didn't have any, like, didn't look at it anymore. It was not, he was beyond that. And that's why they couldn't seal him in whatever formation they did. And if they ever sealed anything, it was basically just maybe a fragment of the being that he was. Because, if you are, because he was maybe at the 95%, he was not resentful. And and the 5% that did the trap was the one that, if ever there's any resentment or regret, then that's what they locked in that ritual. So when I was like starting to get angry with everyone involved, he always reminded me to focus and to not feed the demons with those emotions. So one thing that maybe you can try also, I do every day. Do I take all my negative emotions, all my negative thoughts, all the thing that makes me feel heavy, and imagine them in my hands, no matter how it looks like. It might be slimy, might be like, heavy, heavy weights. It might look dark, it might look whatever it is, how it shows up for you. And then I ask for the purple flame to cover the thing it's on my hand, and transmute it into a golden white opalescent light. And after, I ask it to cover me and let that light go to wherever it is required, whatever corruption, whatever illusions, and that it goes there and starts to transmute those areas as well. so that no matter how much they try to hide it, try to hide facts, try to hide anything, it won't succeed because energetically we are breaking those rituals and formations. And yeah, I don't really know who's gonna listen to this. I know a lot of channelers have been also channeling for MengLong, and um I try not to listen so much because each channeler will channel differently, different parts. But the parts that I did get to read from other channelers, I'm somehow I get also validated because it's also what I perceive Himong Long was telling me, or was communicating with me. So yeah, he's not a resentful being, Himong Long, and to me, he comes off as a very chill and very um happy and innocent, and they never really won. And the people that were involved in his death, or in this case, and all the people directly and indirectly connected to it, they never really won because he never he never gave up. He never gave up his being. He might have died, but his death, he made it so undeniable. Uh, he made it so undeniable that no one no one could deny the fact that his death was suspicious and that there was something more to it. He made sure that he died loud. And yeah, and I still cry whenever I go back to when he died. I know it doesn't matter to him, but it's still a painful thing. But he always laughs and tells me that he's okay. It was his, that was his, that was part of his, you know, purpose. And yeah, and he sees everyone who is fighting for him, who is keeping and asking questions and becoming aware, and is who's not giving up. He sees you and he sees us, and he is there, and he's contributing. So yeah, I think that's it for my first um post on this channel about the channeling. And I don't know if that makes sense or this message is relevant for you, but that's all Yung has been communicating with me so far. So yeah, see you in another channeling session, and I'm grateful for you, and know that you can also communicate with the unseen. We all communicate, and it's just that, are we willing to let go of our points of views about how we communicate and how they communicate? So thank you for listening to me, and see ya. This has been the Whispers of Light channel.